everyone. Welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shyra.
Hi, y'all. I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. We are always so glad to have you. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons and the notification bells for more "hello, we are here, there is more to listen to" notifications. And thank you for all the new subscribers and listeners. We are always blessed to have you and share the space with you. Yes. Shyra, my love, how are you doing today?
Today's a bit of a challenge. Today's a challenge. It's been good and it's been somber. Recently had a loss in the family, and so that's been really sad. And I'm not going to go into too much in depth about that just because I want to be respectful. But yeah, it's been interesting to say the least. I feel like there are times when you are going through experiences like this where you see the best in people because people come together to feel for you, right? And so that has brought me closer in friendships and in family and in connections. And so that's been a blessing, honestly, because I do think that sometimes you even, like I've heard stories where you've even seen that these types of situations can bring out the worst in people. And I have been fortunate enough to not experience that. And so that's been really great. And I don't think any of my family has experienced that I know of. So yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge emotionally.
For sure. Oh my God.
To say the least.
Valid and reasonable. And, it's hard losing the physical aspects of somebody. And I know that you have the belief that it's just the physical and it's the souls will be reunited and everything like that. But even with that knowledge and that belief, like it's still grieving the ability to talk to somebody, to hug them, to be with them. In those moments, for sure. So I'm so sorry that you and your family are, having to navigate this. And that's the other tough thing is one person's navigating a difficult situation will never be the same as anybody else's. And so I'm really glad that you are surrounded by people that love you and continue to lift your family up. And I will continue to be that for you as well. And I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Well, and she was by my side for an entire day. And that was so kind of you and so amazing to have that support within arm's length.
You are welcome. And I'm, here and willing and love you. And
thank you, babe. Absolutely. And just a quick, because I do know that some of my family members listen to this. So I just want to say, like, my heart is with each and every one of you, and I love you all. So there you go.
Beautiful. I'm good. I'm here for you. I love you. And, it's helpful to have somebody that also can read the room, right? When you need a laugh and also when you need to have a shoulder to lean on. So,
and my go-to is definitely laughter. And you brought that forth the other night. So thank you.
Good.
So how about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I feel pretty well rested. I painted all of the trim in my primary bedroom this weekend. Well, I started last weekend, but I did the majority of it this weekend. So I'm really proud of that. And it looks really good. It's a lot more peaceful in there. So it was just a remaining thing that was not accomplished when we bought the house and did the remodel 2 years ago. So pat on my back for getting that done.
Get it? I do love it when you can walk into a space and you see the transformation with something. You would think that let me paint some trim and that would be like seemingly small. And then it's like a grand difference.
Yeah. It made it feel so much more new in there for sure. Absolutely.
Good refresh. Nice.
Yes. So over the weekend, I actually shared a video with you, and the video, it was done on YouTube. Bruce Lipton was talking about some of the conflict that's been going on in the Middle East and gave a really beautiful presentation as far as like seeing and holding in regard or holding diversity in regard and really encouraging us to take a moment and shift our perspective on the importance of valuing each other's individuality and the diversity among all of us. So that's really what we wanted to talk to you about today. And we, of course, will link that full video below. It's about 30 minutes. And so you can check out the length of it and everything that he presented in that information. But what really was fascinating to me was the imagery that was used in this discussion of how, while we all perceive each other as unique and different with differing backgrounds and skin colors and religions and body types and diets, the list is endless as far as what is different in each of us. And really seeing that while we feel so separate and so different, that all of these differences, when they come together, it's a very unifying in his imagery. And if you're on YouTube, we'll pop up an image. But if you are on audio, I want to describe that to you. So basically, he was showing a glass prism and shining a white light through the prism. We've seen this before. If you've been into Pink Floyd, you've seen this on the Dark Side of the Moon album.
Yep.
But
good reference.
Yes.
Nicely done.
So the white light that is shining into the prism, on the other side of it, I think it's refractory light. I could be wrong on that. But the light that's shown through the prism to the other side, you see all the different colors. Like was it Roy G. Biv?
The rainbow.
Yes.
It's the taste the rainbow.
Yes, the Skittles. I really thought this was a beautiful representation of what we mean by we are all one while still honoring each other's uniqueness and differences.
I agree. I like that he also referenced the light that goes in is the solid white light, and how this was the part that I loved the most, and how a lot of people, especially in this community, we talk, and I even talk about it. We talk about the white light, right? And how we all want to go and see and feel this beautiful white light. Even those that have an experience in NDEs, they have the feeling of the white light, right? And how when that white light, singularly looking in the idea of the spectrum or the prism, shining through, coming out into these different colors, appearing to be different, simulating polarity or separation of any sort, even though it's not really separate. But all you have to do is take all of those colors and push it right back through in the opposite direction, and it's still that white light.
Yes, I love that. And I think of this prism as this veil of separation that we talk about frequently. And so you see this unifying white light shining through, and this veil of separation creating all of these different, what's the word that I was looking for? Not particles.
Rays? Spectrums? Perspectives?
No, like different parts of you and me.
Different molecules?
No.
Yeah. Nebulas. No, I was kidding.
But
is that even a thing? That's a star, isn't it? Okay.
A nebulous.
Sure. Okay.
It's a character on the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I know. That's where I got it from, because I'm a nerd.
Nebula. Yeah. Anyways, I won't get stuck on the word, but you know, we talk about, like, in this physical form, we hear all these people telling us, like, oh, that religion is bad. Oh, that, way of life is negative. Or, oh, that thing that they do pulls them farther away from God. When in reality, it's the lack of compassion, the lack of love, the lack of respect for another person's choices and way of life that adds to that separation. And if we, and that's part of the programming that we tend to unknowingly interact and absorb through our childhood, that teaches us that if it's not, this is from my own life, if it's not Christianity, it's of the devil, right? Or any other religion, it's a bad thing. It's getting away from God. Right. And you can go down the different paths with, different subjects, but it's like, wait a minute, are these really bad things, or are we placing them in a bad category and calling them bad because that's our, belief system, not even a belief system that we've, developed ourselves, but that's been taught to us and passed down.
Yeah, it's definitely a part of the generational behavior and continuation of. If you had a moment to listen to our previous episode, we talked about that a little bit.
Two episodes ago.
Was it two? Okay.
Yeah. Oops. I think that was mid-October.
My bad.
That's okay.
Where we say, like, if you want that to change, you have a choice in it. And the fact that you have a choice in it just should also tell you that it's not something you're stuck with. It's not something you have to continue on. Mm-hmm. So I do love that I had this analogy in my head while you were describing the rainbow, right? That even when you're looking at the rainbow and we have the perception of all the different colors as if they're separate, they're all connected, but maybe you see a little bit of a fade between the two colors, but it still means that they're connected. And it had me thinking, we can go down a rabbit hole here, but it had me thinking about, like, the whole, the shadow side on each side of the colors that are making up that rainbow, right? But just because when you look at that, when it shines that light through and you see, you have to pretty much zoom in on it, but
right. It's not separate.
It's not separate. Right.
There's a grading between them. Mm-hmm. A gradient. While you were talking, a thought with the programming is a lot of that programming is based out of fear, a fear of not understanding or not knowing. Mm-hmm. And so once we can bridge that lack of knowledge too, that can be helpful. But if you remember, we also talked about, this was in the last episode, that we don't always need to understand what's going on to choose to love.
Yep.
But we can also teach love and compassion to ourselves, to the younger generation, to one another.
Yeah.
And how we treat each other and accept and ask questions in a loving way.
Yeah, we definitely can. I would like to see, a bit of an example. I heard in that video the story about the two different, is it nationalities?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, so the two different children from two different regions that were in conflict with one another, and how their parents decided to build a school where they're both combined, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing that I loved about this is that their parents chose to be the stopping points,
right,
of all the generational behavior before them, right? And they chose to find community within one another that had previously been in a conflict,
right,
and raise their children. And their children had no idea, because they were not raised with the same generational behavior of, you hate this person, you should not like this other group of individuals. And so I loved that, because it teaches all of us in just that simple story that we all have it in us to be that way. And that
none of us were born with this anger or this resentment or this fear or this hatred. This was all taught to us.
Correct. And I do understand that there are some that have an experience with an individual or a few individuals, and those experiences weren't great. And that has now led you into a fear-based thought process that anyone that comes appearance in the same of those individuals to bring about fear, right? But what you're doing is that you're taking the traumas that you've experienced and you're applying it to all in that aspect, right? And it's not giving or allowing yourself to connect and see beyond the traumas that you've experienced, which again, that is a fear-based thought process, right? And I'm not saying that your traumas are not valid. I'm not saying that even the fears that you experience are not valid. I just ask that, can we do better? Can we learn better?
Yeah, I think in regards to like those instances, there's definitely like if you are triggered into fear, sit with that and go deeper. Ask like, why is this coming up? Is this just based on how somebody looks? Or is there an energy that they're giving off? Because we don't want you to just ignore those intuitive responses, right?
Exactly.
But there's also a level of allowing yourself to experience the positive and learning to heal and be open to those situations that can provide healing.
I mean, I don't want to just be on fantasy island over here because I have hope for humanity still, but my hope is that maybe in this lifetime, I get to see a world that we live in where a majority of us are thinking in the way like that, right? Because wow, what a magical place this would be that every generation that's born from this point forward learn how to play with one another and not have the traumas that we've experienced prior to that associated with them.
I think there's a level of trust that has to be built between people. And the only way we can do that is to start offering trustworthy actions.
Oh, yeah. I mean, truth. And a lot of our need for building that trust is because of the shit we've been through.
And I think one of the primary things that from 2 videos ago, 2 episodes ago, that we were really, we were in a heavy state then. And at the end of it, it was, we want to choose humanity because we are all brothers and sisters. And we've said that jokingly in the past before, but it's true.
It's true. Yeah.
We are all from the same source. Spirit, God, whatever you want to call it.
Spectrum of light that hits the pyramid and perceived separate. Yeah.
And so if you think about it, if you were to separate the rainbow light that was coming out and remove one of the colors.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah.
The light going back through the prism will no longer be white. It will be a distorted shade of the mixture of colors that are remaining.
Yep.
And so, again, highlighting that while we are all different and unique, we are all one and the same, and we make up that which is the white light.
Right there. Brilliant. Well said.
Oh, thanks.
And I guess we're done today, ladies and gentlemen.
If you are listening and want to check out the actual visual, again, come check us out on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe, or you can click on the video that we linked below for Bruce Lipton's. Yeah.
I absolutely love that video. Definitely, you gave a suggestion to somebody once about that video recently, I think. And the goal, watch it all the way through.
Yes.
Don't get stuck in just the beginning aspect of it. It's actually a really good conversation.
Right. Yeah, because I understand and respect people's desire not to allow a lot of negativity into their lives. And if that's regarding the conflict, there's a lot of positive, uplifting messages that are related to it. So I do recommend listening to it all the way through. It left me feeling very hopeful. And
I agree.
I tend to run on the side of compassion, but it really just fed that fire even more.
I agree. Beautiful. All right. Guess what time it is, everybody? It is time for the collective card reading. Oh, snap.
Alrighty. So we are using Chris Ann's The Light Seers Tarot. And we've got 3 cards here meant for the collective. And Shyra will be riffing off of the guidebook as well. So were you asking anything specific or just what do you have for us?
Ironically, it was tied with this topic today. Yeah. I asked to bring in the white light. I actually even felt compelled to call in Archangel Michael to bring in his lit up sword of blue and white light to bring protection and guidance to all of us. So I feel pretty strong in saying that these messages will be messages from Archangel Michael today as to however you need it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Card number 1. We are going with 10 of Swords. This card, there is a woman standing on the side of a hill, valley. Can't really tell, but you can't see anything past where she's standing. She is looking away. There are 10 blackbirds soaring above her. She's got a orangey yellow dress, and it looks like the ground that she is on kind of looks a little dry, like our summers in Texas.
Right. I was going to say, like my front yard.
Yeah. 10 of Swords.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give you guys the, if you get this card deck, which you can do on our website.
lovealwaysself.com.
Yeah. Shop, Amazon shop. Then you'll see in the guidebook, which I'm not going to read the whole guidebook, but I will read the highlights. Painful endings, crisis, being stabbed in the back, an opportunity to find deep healing, an opportunity to find hope and resilience. So no way that this is the card.
I mean, that's nuts.
After the conversation we just had.
Especially like relating it to conflict in general and having to learn how to build trust.
Okay. Wait.
Okay.
Wait. Hold up. Hold up. Okay. It literally says, this 10 of Swords comes to us in times of building truth when delusion is lifted. Dude. Wow.
And, you know, when it comes to, I keep saying conflict because we don't want to get like shadow banned or anything like that.
True
but
story.
When it comes to conflicts in the world, there's a lot of unknowns and things that happen behind closed doors that we aren't privy to as far as the information as well. And it's never just a black and white, this is what happened.
Right. No, it's not. In my opinion, I don't think it is. What's interesting is the birds, the black birds on the card, they usually represent to me a time of change and transformation and letting go of a lot of shadows. Always rolls in with theme. It also sometimes gives me a sign of mourning a loss, but allowing that to be that transformational aspect. I mean, it could just be what I'm going through at the moment or what, but I honestly do seem to see a lot of black birds in that time. So,
and when we're working through shadow, there's a lot of it's like cleaning out the closet and stuff that we find that is no longer useful to us that we've been carrying around for years, and being able to release that and let go and create new patterns. That's the transformation. That's the death and rebirth.
agreed.
Beautiful. Very crazy. Card number 2.
Very crazy.
Justice. Oh my God.
You're kidding.
What's going on? So this card is really cool. We've had this before. There is a woman that's pulling a blade out of its sheath. Is that right?
I don't know what that's called, that the blade sits inside of. Hold on.
I think that's a sheath. Anyways, so on the top half, she is bright and colorful, looks healthy, vibrant. There's like clouds, light shining behind the clouds, and she's kind of gazing down below the sword that is being drawn. And below her is a reflection of her, but it looks a little bit darker, more grayed out, I guess. And then there is a scale
she's balancing.
Yeah, on the sword. So there's 2 bowls, one on each side of the sword, and it's it's, balancing the scales.
You know, what's interesting is you and I talked about the scales earlier before we hit record. And then on top of that, and I got full body chills just now. On top of that, I asked for, because this is an 11 card, I asked to call in an archangel, and that is a master number, and they're usually connected to those realms. And so that's pretty cool, first of all. And then on top of it, I mentioned the sword of white light, and I asked for that, and there's a sword in this image. So all of this is kind of pointing to that not only him is as a protector guide, right? As a protector archangel, and somebody that comes and helps bring in balance, that we got this card.
And that's a great synonym for, justice, or for the scales, is balance.
Right.
And it's tough because justice doesn't always feel like equal or like properly served, but it's a weird thing because if you are searching for justice, it doesn't always mean it's going to undo that which was done upon you.
Absolutely right. Let's see what we got here. Yep. Natural law, balance, karma, truth, wisdom, legal matters, fairness, cause and effect, integrity, objectivity, perspective, and accountability.
And that's what we need a lot of, is truth, perspective, and accountability.
And here we go again with being mind blown. Justice asks you to learn from your past experiences, the good, the bad, and the fugly.
And that's what drives me nuts is, we hear this adage of history repeats itself. It is because we're so dense that we can't learn from our mistakes and from our past. Like, do we not have 170 something countries to learn like best practices from?
I mean, it would be great if we united on that front. Just saying. Woof.
All right. Card number 3. Yeah. King of Wands. There is a gentleman in a red shirt with a lizard on it, standing in a field. It looks like I don't know, wherever lions hang out at, because there's a lion behind him. He's standing there with a staff that's lit on fire.
He's got a lion on the hill behind him. He's not even afraid of that lion. Wow. Yeah.
It's almost like the lion's like watching his back.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I tend to listen to some of David Lyon's, like when he goes live and stuff on Instagram or whatever. And this card reminds me of David Lyon because it kind of looks like him. Plus there's a lion back there. But I think the reason that ties to me sometimes too is not just because of the looks of this card, but the information that's given, right? This different perspective of knowledge. Right? It's a shift, but to be able to stand so powerful in that, it takes courage. And lions remind me of, courage. I was just thinking about that while looking at this. And I really do feel that sometimes when we go through the transformations and the changes and the shadow work and the things that we're always kind of moving through in this life, even with the losses we experience, but the gains that we get from afterwards and the balancing of the polarity that we're consistently experiencing here on this planet. And in the end, when we learn all of these things, we have a different perspective. We have that power within to be able to stand on our own and have the courage to move forward into all the things that we're doing and taking on. So, wow, this spread is...
It was beautifully said.
Just kind of came out. This spread is absolutely magical. Do you want to hear it from the book?
I do.
Okay. An entrepreneurial spirit, a natural born leader, ideas that can be ultra successful, a creative visionary, timelessness, success, fire. This fiery guy, he's a charismatic and natural born leader whose vitality emanates through his laughter and his obsession with a life well lived. I love this. I'm going to actually go ahead and read the affirmation that's always in with this particular book, but passionate and heart fueled, we build this empire of light together.
Wow. That is a great way to end this card reading.
I know.
Can you read that one more time?
I am, and I'm going to take us off of this particular view to do that. So 1 second. But passionate and heart-fueled, we build this empire of light together. And how true
oh my God,
does that ring?
Again, it takes all of us.
All of it.
Ugh, that's
Every
incredible. Wow.
Yeah, Michael came through strong today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, cards.
Thank you, cards. Yes.
All right.
Well.
I'm kind of like at a loss for words after that. Like, I'm just kind of like vibing with that.
Yeah, you just kind of want to swim in it, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're going to let you swim in it. Don't forget, again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bells, and we are on social media. We've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts at Love Always Self. Speaking of Love Always Self, we have a website at lovealwaysself.com. Again, you can find this tarot card deck on the shop and then Amazon tab on our website. We do get a little kickback from that, but it goes straight back to the podcast.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
I hope that you guys really enjoyed this message. It was really beautiful. Check out that video by Bruce Lipton. It was just, again, I felt so hopeful and loving towards humanity and just wanting to hug like crazy, just like, yes, I love you all. And so I actually did like a little meditation afterwards and envisioned the world and just like my hands around her, sending her lots of love, not just her, but all of us that are a part of this planet, that are a part of these lives that we are living each day, and encouraging that we choose love and compassion, and a little bit of patience goes a long way.
Absolutely, it does. And on that note,
don't forget to love first,
love last,
and love always.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, remember to love first,
love last,
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.